What's up, guys? Another episode of me talking to myself. So today I'm going to drop the rear diff out of the wagon, so show some better video and pictures of what the rear diff looks like and some planned future improvements, and also what I'm going to fix tonight. Alright, so here's what we're going to do. Got this thing spot welded together. This is going to go on the back of the diff. Bolt to the back of the diff, like so. Below that, with this heim joint's going to go over this old wheel stud. And the idea is the wheel stud's got a 5/8 knurl here. So this is a 5/8 heim joint, so this will slide over that. And then with a washer and whatever else, I can get, instead of a lug nut, I can get a real 1/2x20 with a washer and a lock nut or whatnot. Or a locking nut would work too. So that will go over this. And then this side, the short side here, will get welded to the bottom of the cage bracket to support the heim joint. So the differential has a little bit of rock to it because it's supported in the front by 2 points. So when you put a load on it, it's going to want to rotate. So if the back is solidly bolted to the cage, it's still going to twist. So it slowly pries the metal tabs apart, and then the slop in the whole bracket, every time you put the car in reverse, the diff clunks up and clunks down. So I'm trying to get rid of that. So the idea is with this heim joint thing, I can also change the pinion angle really easy just by loosening the nut up and tightening the nuts up and down, and I can change the pinion angle. So here's what we're trying to improve, is this bracket here gets spread apart when the differential twists up front. 2 mounting tabs there and there. So what I want to do is this will get bolted on to there, and this will get welded on down here, and that will allow us to do some adjustments. So we've chopped it up. Man, there's better white. That's okay. So that's the idea. So pull it all back apart and then weld everything together. So as the differential rocks around on the front mounts, once they're tight, but they'll still flex a little. This is obviously exaggerated, but now it's free to move on the mount, but the mount's still solid in the vertical in this direction, which is what I want. Because the problem before is when this would twist a little bit, it would split apart the mount, which would cause issues, because then it would be loose and it would allow it to clunk up and down. So now with the heim joint, it allows it to twist a little bit, but will still be rigid in the up and down direction. So I think that's going to be about it. So that'll be about it for now. I think tomorrow I will get it all hoisted back up in the car and get everything all bolted back together, and then take it for a quick little blast around the block, see how everything's working. So Yeah. All right. Next morning, so I'm gonna try to get this thing put back in the car. I'm gonna do a quick overview of what the whole rear diff looks like and the different design processes we went through. The other video down and further down in the videos on the rear end was when it was all in the car and it was kind of janky. So try to give you guys a better idea of what it all does. Got it back on the ground, fire it up and roll around the block, do a couple shifts, see what happens. Hopefully it just doesn't make any more clunking noises and all that jazz, so we'll see. Alright guys, so test drive kind of worked until I got to the bottom of the driveway. So my 3D printed ABS bracket, so this is a Hall effect sensor, looks like it's whacked the magnets that are on this hub on the input to the diff a couple too many times. But when I got everything lined up, apparently this was too close. Something happened and it whacked it. So I'm not 100% sure if... I know the diff is a little bit further to the back now than it was, maybe by an 1/8 inch. So that makes me wonder if something might have hit one of these. So I'm going to attempt to reassemble the rest of the bracket and screw it all in. I have the SolidWorks model up on the computer. So I'm going to double check what happened. If I remember how this goes back together. Yeah, that goes up there like that. Oh, lighting is terrible under here. But yeah, something like that. I can figure out what happened, if I need to move the hole forward or back or something. So, we'll see. Cool. Even put my name on it. 3D printed last night and got it installed. You can kind of get an idea of the sensor location up in there, if you can even see it. But yep, it needs to be kind of close. Even printed my name in it, so you know who built it. Alright, thanks for watching, guys. Alright, made it to the gas station. Everything seems to be working. I got my speed sensor sorted out. And no more clunks, which is great. So, next little section should be some bonus material. Now the rear end's put together and all the little pieces involved in that. So, go ahead and jump to that if you want. Alright, so this is a 95 T-Bird, center section, half shafts, and outer hubs. So as you can see, I've banged in some 3-inch studs in there, so I can run these other wheels over here with a small spacer, and plus the car is getting fast enough where they're probably going to require me to have wheel studs anyways. So it's currently ran a 12.1 at 117 in a really hot air. I think the altitude density that day was like 6,000 feet and change. So now that the weather's getting cooler, might be able to squeeze out a high 11 with this setup. So with the 8.8, the dry shaft just has a flat mounting flange, which is nice, saves the U-joints. So the upper control arm arrangement, originally I had it located here, but the problem was the distance from here to down here was too great, so when the hub would go through its throw, the hub would actually kind of rotate weird instead of just parallel up and down to the ground, perpendicular. So I got that sorted out, and the reason this upper control arm has this bend in it is because it has to clear the frame under the back of the car. So the factory T-Bird setup also had something very similar to that. They had a piece of sheet metal that was bent in a U, but it also did a U bend where it connected, so it would clear the frame of the T-Bird. It was kind of an interesting setup, and it pretty much had to be the same way for this. So yeah, so this has gone through several design iterations. I've had to add more bars and more material. Like you can see up front, none of this stuff is straight because it was all added on later. It's probably added when it was in the car too. But yeah, so this is one way to do it. I bought some more end links. These guys, because I want to rebuild this lower control arm and move this here, so there's less distance here sticking out, so I can run a smaller rim with a fatter tire. But in order to do that, I need to rearrange some stuff and build new control arms, and I also want to get rid of the coil spring and maybe just do a coilover setup, and I'll have to figure out exactly how that's going to work. Probably if I build new control arms, I can add more bracketry on this back side and have it come up to pretty much that shock mount there, I'm thinking. But yeah, so I'm really happy with how this turned out. That should work well.